and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome back. Today we're diving into some really revealing source material from Ambridge. It shows a village teetering between, well, crisis and celebration.
Absolutely. We've got this major clash brewing at the Bull Pub, hitting right at the core of past traumas and financial realities.
And then, almost in the same breath, there's this wonderfully warm, secret plan unfolding for one of the village's sort of elder statesmen.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? It really highlights how past actions ripple outwards, sometimes destructively, sometimes creating this incredible foundation of goodwill.
Yeah, so our mission, if you like, is to unpack that. We want to see how loyalty, forgiveness, and especially money really shape decisions when things get tough.
And understand why Lillian's reaction at the Bull escalates so dramatically compared to the collaborative spirit around Oliver's birthday.
Okay, let's set the scene at the Bull. Kenton and Shula are away, right? So the pub's short-staffed.
Correct. And Jolene, who's managing, calls an early morning staff meeting. Sounds like pulling teeth to get them there, but she needs a solution, fast.
So she gets straight to it. The proposal is bring in George Grundy. He's apparently offered to help, keen for the work, desperate even.
And Jolene sounds genuinely conflicted here. She says she feels very torn. She mentions owing George a debt of gratitude, her and Kenton.
That's the Marquis connection, isn't it? The implication that George helped them out of a tight spot.
Exactly. So there's this personal obligation hanging over her. But to her credit, she tells the staff up front, look, your feelings are what matter most here.
And those feelings, wow. It wasn't just disagreement. It was immediate, visceral rejection. Tracy, especially.
Oh yeah, Tracy's reaction is instantaneous. Over my dead body, she's emphatic. I cannot sit here and listen to this. The past is just too raw for her.
It really shifts the conversation, doesn't it? It stops being about filling shifts and becomes about accountability for past harm.
Completely. And it's not just Tracy. Joy tries to be maybe a bit more diplomatic, suggests he's done his time.
But even she says no. Why was that again?
Because of her partner, Mick. He'd be really, really angry. Still furious about George's role in the crash. So even if Joy herself could maybe move past it, the impact on her relationship is too great. It shows how these things spread.
Right, the ripple effect. But the real gut punch, the moment it seals it, comes from Fallon.
It does. She brings it straight back to the harm done to Alice, her daughter. The way George manipulated her made her think she'd done something awful.
Leading to the miscarriage, pushing her almost over the edge, as Fallon puts it. It's brutal to hear recounted.
And Fallon's word choice is key. She calls what George did so cruel. That lands with real weight. Cruel, that's the verdict.
Compared to that, any favor George might have done regarding Marquis just evaporates, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The scale of the harm is just overwhelming, so the decision from the staff is clear.
Yeah, Jolene confirms it. No, unanimously. Case closed, you'd think. Morally, at least.
You would think. But Jolene hasn't reckoned with Lillian, who was also in that meeting listening to all this.
Ugh, Lillian. Right, so the staff meeting ends, but the real drama is just beginning. Lillian confronts Jolene privately.
She does, and she is furious. Not just that they said no, but that Jolene even considered hiring George after hearing what Fallon said about Alice.
Lillian sees it differently then. Not as Jolene trying to balance an obligation, but...
She sees it as manipulation. She flat out accuses George of using his past help the Marquis situation as leverage. She calls it blackmail.
Blackmail, that's a strong word. It reframes George's desperation entirely.
It absolutely does. It paints him as predatory, not penitent. Jolene tries to push back a little, maybe suggests George is trying to change, but Lillian's having none of it.
So what does Lillian demand? Just that he doesn't get the job.
Oh, much more than that. She demands Jolene bar him from the Bull completely. Not even in the car park, she says. Total exclusion.
Wow. Okay. And Jolene's reaction, I mean, on what grounds can she just bar someone?
That's exactly what Jolene asks. On what grounds? She's thinking like a manager, policies, procedures.
But Lillian isn't thinking like a manager.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information, and to order your very own The Archers mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
Not at all. She's thinking like an owner. This is where the power dynamic just slams down onto the table.
Right, she drops the bombshell.
She does. Reminds Jolene very clearly, I own a substantial share of the bowl, Jolene. The implication is immediate.
Her money, her rules. She said she won't have any of my money go into that dreadful boy.
It's a direct financial threat. Jolene might feel a personal, moral debt to George, a complicated one. But Lillian presents an overriding business debt. Her investment demands loyalty.
And the ultimatum is stark.
Absolutely stark. It's either George or me. If Jolene doesn't bar George immediately, Lillian pulls her investment. Take my money out of the bowl. Full stop.
So the moral consensus of the staff, which Jolene accepted, gets hijacked by financial power. It's not just about protecting Alice anymore. It's about saving the pub from financial ruin.
Precisely. Lillian weaponizes the legitimate moral outrage using her financial stake. It forces Jolene's hand in a way the staff's feelings, however strong, couldn't. History, trauma, finance, it all collides.
It really lays bare where the ultimate power lies, doesn't it? When push comes to shove.
Money talks, even in Ambridge. It's a pretty grim conclusion to that whole situation. The immediate crisis might be averted. George isn't hired, but a bigger one looms.
Okay, let's shift gears dramatically, because the sources also give us this completely different storyline running alongside all this toxicity.
Yes, thankfully. A complete change of pace. We move over to Tracy and Brad, and the focus is Oliver Sterling.
They're talking about his birthday, something's coming up.
A really big birthday, Brad says, next Saturday. But there's a catch.
He doesn't want to fuss.
Exactly. He's made it very clear. Keep it secret, no party. Brad figures out it must be his 80th that feels like a milestone you can't just ignore.
And Oliver's clearly well-loved. Brad mentions how much Oliver helped him, helped his mom, just a genuinely decent fella in the village.
He really is. Quietly influential through kindness, it seems. Which is probably why Tracy and Brad decide they have to do something, just not a standard party.
They need a different approach. Something more meaningful, perhaps linked to his past. His late wife, Caroline.
That's the spark. They know a big bash isn't Oliver's style, but maybe something connected to Caroline, something reflecting their life together.
So how do they figure out what that could be? They rope someone else in.
They do. They consult Zainab, calling her the village life expert, which is quite funny. They ask her to pick her brains about Oliver and Caroline.
And Zainab provides the key piece of the puzzle.
She does. She confirms that Oliver and Caroline used to foster children. Not just one or two, but one after the other. A continuous commitment.
Wow, okay. That's significant. That wasn't just a small part of their life, that was their life in many ways.
Exactly. It defines a huge part of their legacy together. And suddenly, the perfect idea emerges.
Not a party.
But a reunion. A reunion of the children they fostered. A way to celebrate Oliver's 80th by honoring the impact he and Caroline had on so many lives.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
A really thoughtful, meaningful way to mark the occasion without it being a noisy party he doesn't want.
It is. It honors him and Caroline's memory, focusing on the positive human connections they built over decades.
But hang on. Organizing something like that, finding people fostered potentially years ago who could be anywhere now, that sounds like a massive undertaking.
Huge logistical challenge, especially keeping it secret from Oliver. They need a starting point, someone who connects that network.
And they identify someone.
Yes, Carly. She was one of the foster kids herself, apparently stayed close to Oliver and Caroline, even came to Caroline's memorial. She's the key.
Okay, so find Carly, and she might be able to help track down others.
Yeah.
Simple, right?
Well, another snag. Zainab mentions Carly married a soldier and has often been posted overseas, so finding her might be tricky.
Ah, so the community network needs to activate again.
Exactly. But notice the difference here. At the Bowl, the network was used to enforce an ultimatum based on finance and past trauma. Here, the network is pooling resources out of affection and respect.
Zainab offers to ask her sister, who might have a lead on Carly. It's collaboration, not coercion.
Precisely. People drawing on their connections, their shared history, their goodwill, all to create something positive for Oliver. It's the flip side of the village dynamic we saw at the Bull.
It's such a powerful contrast. George's past actions lead to division, threats, financial crisis. Oliver's past actions, decades of quiet kindness, inspire this huge collaborative effort built purely on affection.
And that really sums it up for you, the listener. You see these two currencies at play. Lillian's hard cash versus Oliver's emotional capital, built over years of fostering.
At the Bull, the financial investment forces a difficult moral choice, essentially overriding Jolene's personal sense of obligation to George. The debt to Lillian, the shareholder, wins out.
Whereas with Oliver, the emotional investment from the community fuels this incredible, complex plan. People are willing to invest significant time and effort, not money, because of the legacy he built.
So we leave the Bull, technically having avoided hiring George, but facing this massive financial threat from Lillian. A moral victory perhaps, but potentially a Pyrrhic one.
And simultaneously, this secret mission for Oliver's 80th is underway, driven by gratitude and a desire to celebrate a life well lived.
It really makes you think about debt, doesn't it? Jolene felt she owed George something personal. Lillian made it clear Jolene owed the business, and by extension her, something much bigger, something enforceable.
Which leaves us with a final thought. Does a personal debt, however complex, ever stand a chance against a financial obligation when the survival of something like the village pub is potentially on the line? It seems, in this case at least, the answer is a pretty clear and perhaps sobering
So what are you
no.
doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep. That's,
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the bull bar. That's,
This one.
yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever